Um, now Aidan has to keep a bat in his house. Hey everyone, welcome back to episode 4 of my podcast, Let's Talk About You. I'm your host, Ben Robinson. I'm here with my friend Aidan for the second time. We had to try again. There was a bit of an incident, but we're here again. I'm here with my friend Aidan. Let's talk about you. Give yourself
That's
a
what I
little
love to do.
So just give yourself a little introduction.
Yeah, so my name's Aidan. My used to be a political Jew, but I had to change that for reasons that I'm guessing we'll discuss a little bit in the show. My new username is Aidan. Please stop talking. The phrase I've heard the most in my life. And I founded TikTok for Biden, now Gen Z for Change, and I am excited to talk about myself.
Perfect. So if anyone, again, I say this every time, I'm sorry if it gets annoying for people who are continuously listening, but if anyone's new, basically, the framework of this podcast is, well, like I'm doing this because I want to, work with a bunch of my friends and talk about things that we're passionate about. So we have like a conversation on that for about half the podcast, and then we answer some of your guys' questions, and then we play a little game at the end. So the main topic is our experience with TikTok for Biden, but Aidan's a very interesting person. I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about. So I guess we'll start with that. So if I can tell a story about how I got involved in it afterwards, but if you want to just start by talking about like how you started it.
So TikTok for Biden, I founded the organization with Brendan Radecki. Brendan is ugly. On the night of the first presidential debate, which was such a messy and terrible night. Trump was even more unhinged than usual. And Brendan and I were talking about how we felt kind of powerless and we wished we could use our platforms for good. And I was like, what if we have a phone bank for Biden with a bunch of our creator friends? Because that's what I did for a Senate campaign I worked on over the summer. And he was like, yeah, sure, let's organize that. And so I think we posted about it on our friends only on TikTok. And I was expecting to get like, I don't know, 20 people to do like one phone bank. But 60 people signed up and I was like, this is insane. So I jumped on a meeting with all of them and I was like, so here's how the one phone bank is gonna work. And then they were all like, no, let's think bigger. I'll add my friend who has this many followers. I'll add my friend here. I'll add this person and this person. And it started growing and growing from 60 to 80 to 100 to 200. And in the end, about 500 creators with a combined following of over 200 million. It was a wild ride. When did you get involved, Ben?
So my friend Ainsley Edwards,
I love it.
she texted me and she was like, hey, like there's this small little organization, and she was like, here's a little Google form if you want to like sign up. You could share it with some of your friends too. And I was like, okay. And me being like the overachiever that I am, I was like, I'm gonna get like all of my friends in this. Like, this is such a great cause. So I went and I signed up, and I'm pretty sure like I joined a Zoom. It was like one of the first ones. It was like more. It was like smaller. We talked. I was so interested. Basically, I put on my private story like if anyone wants to get involved in it, and like more than half of the people were like me, and I had also sent it to a bunch of people. So I I got like literally all of my friends to join, and it was so fun. I also did like I joined leadership because I got Brooklyn involved, and then in turn she got me involved with that. That was really cool. I worked on like recruitment and stuff. So that was basically how I got involved. But it was just funny because I remember when Ainsley texted me, she was like, "Oh, like it's this little thing." I thought we were doing like a post or something. But yeah.
I mean, it was a great experience, and you are a networking master, Ben. You know everyone.
I don't
It's
even know how that happened because truthfully, I was always, and this is not something that I was going to talk about. Like, this is a whole different topic, but basically, I was always the one who was like getting left out of stuff. And then all of a sudden, like, I like made a bunch of friends from TikTok, and like, I'm okay. This is going to sound really cocky, but I'll explain. So hold on a sec. Like all of a sudden, like I'm the one with all the friends, and it's really cool, and I'm really grateful because I've never been the one with all the friends. And so now I just like introduce all my friends to each other so everyone can be friends, and it's really fun. So basically, like we like on TikTok for Biden, we did a lot more than we were planning to do. What are like some of the coolest things that you think we were able to accomplish?
Well, I was able to take a leave of absence from school to focus on it full time. And I remembered like the first day after I got my leave of absence, because I was not like able to do my schoolwork and TikTok for it. The first day after, I had like a 14-hour Zoom day just full of meetings. And I like could not. That was just insane. And then that night I had to deal with a feud between witches. So
I
that
remember.
that was a that was a fun first day. So the leave of absence was great, even though it's left me with mounds and mounds of homework to make up now. Um, and I think the coolest experiences, one, zooming with the Glee cast and becoming friendly with them. That was crazy to me because I love Glee. I've always loved Glee. That was a pretty insane experience. And some other ones were, well, our meetings were kind of feel like a blur in retrospect. Like in one meeting we had the Biden grandchildren,
That was so cool.
the former chair of the House Democratic Caucus, and Kevin McHale from Glee, which is just like that's an and Hank Green, I
I was
think.
about to say, didn't we also have Hank Green?
I might be mixing up things, but yeah, I think so. Ooh, our meetings with with all of the people and the celebrities, those were insane.
Yeah,
Um,
our meetings were so fun. It was like we had like tens, maybe like even hundreds on some of the meetings of like
oh
members
yeah, we had
all
like
on at once.
between like 150 and like 300 for everything.
Yeah, it
I
was
remember
so fun.
the first meeting that we all joined, and I was like, wait, why can't more people join? And they're like, oh, we hit our cap at 100. I was like, oh wow, this is weird. We need a better Zoom plan. But and then more recently working with Fair Fight and zooming with Stacey Abrams,
Mhm.
um, and working with Padma Lakshmi on her comedy show was a pretty great experience.
Yeah, that was really cool. I think
And
it's
also,
like
last cool thing, I'm getting the plug in on January 4th at 6 p.m. We're gonna have a huge phone bank for Georgia with a bunch of celebrities and politicians
yeah,
and TikTokers, which is what Ben is gonna help me with afterwards.
yep. Yeah, so again, like I mean, I'm sure a lot of people know this, but it's not our work isn't over. If anyone's listening and you're like, "Oh, like TikTok for Biden, like that ended when the election ended." No, we switched. We're now Gen Z for change. We're still doing a lot of really cool work. So please don't unfollow us because we were losing
Because a
track.
lot of people have.
Yeah. We didn't it's not over. We just obviously had to make a little rebrand because like there's no point in being Gen Z for Biden if Biden wins. Like there's no other election basically. So
And
we
anyway,
we did a little
the last in retrospect, the other really cool thing was like the week before the election, like you could not scroll through TikTok without seeing our little logo, like our little Gen
yeah.
Z for Biden logo. So many people were using it. People who were like popular creators who weren't even in our group were using it.
It was interesting for sure that the profile picture. And just the fact that like something that I thought was really cool is that we hit 1 million on election day. I think that that was
Yeah,
really
that
cool.
was really nice.
And like
We
all
we
my
gained,
friends,
we gained maybe 200,000 followers on election day. That was insane.
what?
We gained like 200,000 followers on election day.
Yeah, I mean, we had some videos do so well.
I go back through the lap through like the week, election day, and then the week after, and I'm like, you really can't. It's very hard to compare with views like that.
Yeah, that was so crazy just watching the account grow because I mean, we were all like logged into that account from once it had like 50/100K. That was really insane to me. Just watching that account grow was so cool. It was also just really cool like being a part of it leading up to election day because we had that Zoom that like I wasn't like a established member on the live stream Zoom that went on, but I joined a few times. That was so cool. It was so funny to me.
They
Um
went live for so long, like two
yeah,
weeks.
I know. Like there were like at least what like 20, 30 people on at a time
Mhm.
for like 2 weeks straight. Like they did not end that shit.
Good times.
Yeah, that was really crazy. And I just, oh my God, I remember election day, like us all texting in like the leadership group chat and texting in like each of our group chats. It was so cool. Basically, like if anyone, I mean, obviously no one else would know, but like what we did to kind of I guess this is something interesting to talk about too. What we did to manage all of the people was we had a group of like 20-ish people in leadership, and each of us were like a leader and a co-leader of a group of people. So we like split it up into groups of people, which that was my job, and that was so confusing because like everyone was like, "Oh, I didn't get a group," but then they were in a group and they just didn't see their name there. And
Do you remember when I when no one knew the first time that after you assigned groups and nobody knew who their groups were, and I was like, Ben, I'm sorry for what I'm about to do, and then I just let people like I just put them in random groups.
yeah. No, that was fine. I just remember like, oh my God, it was the worst. I had like two tests and it was my first day going in person in school, so I couldn't even like stay up super late. And I remember like having that happen and I was like trying to figure out the groups. That was I was so stressed that night. But you know, we all had stress with this as well. We split into groups. I was a group leader with my friend Kamal, and it was really cool. We would text our groups individually and come up with video ideas. Like if we did Zooms, we'd go into breakout rooms with our groups individually. It was really cool to like recruit people and have them put into like it was like a smaller group so everyone could like make friends. Um, which it's really cool to me to think of like the fact that the way I just randomly assign people into groups is probably like still in effect because they like became friends with people in their group and now
Yeah.
they're really close with them, and it was because I just randomly put their name somewhere. But yeah, that's basically how we like ran it in a sense. I mean, we like only had a few of us logged into the account, so like our groups would send us videos, we'd post them, we'd like put on closed captions, things like that. But yeah, that's basically how we ran it. Like what did you do you want to talk any further about like what you did like during the entire thing in terms of like working with management and all your Zoom calls and stuff?
Yeah. So we towards the end we started coordinating with the Biden campaign, which was also a crazy experience. We were like the
Yeah.
Biden campaign's TikTok presence. That was bizarre and just a lot of fun. I think that I had so many Zooms with people who are like way above my like, why are you talking to me? Um, yeah, I mean, I think that I mean, it's almost hard to look back on it because like we're trying to keep something going and
Mhm.
it's not going as well as it was back then.
Yeah, I mean, but that's
We'll
like
get there.
yeah, that's a given because like we were all kind of in anticipation of election night, and you know, we were kind of frantic, if that makes sense. We were all like throwing stuff together, like everyone was trying to make videos on like why you should vote for Biden, voter registration, all that kind of stuff. And so I think that a lot of people were like, oh, like once, you know, once the election's over, they were like, okay, like we won.
Yeah, that's the hard part. It's like the stereotype of like vote for Biden so we can go back to brunch, which is just such like a which is like Biden himself is not going to be the change we need. Like our fight like in the grand scheme of American problems, Trump was actively pushing us back, and now we're like right here, and way over here is like a semi-acceptable country,
Yeah.
and like the fight start is not over at all.
Yeah, that's another thing I was going to bring up is like how we were getting a lot of hate too, from people who were like, we're supposed to be settling for Biden, not pushing for him. I think this is like kind of our floor to establish like why we were doing what we were doing.
Yeah,
I have a few words, but you can go first if you have anything.
yeah. I like first thing, I love the settle for Biden people. I love like the Instagram account. I know Sam who runs it. Like I truly love their account, and they started doing this like malarkey meter for like rating each of Biden's picks, which is so smart. I love them. And it's not their fault, but I think that the message was co-opted to mean something that it wasn't started, like co-opted away from its original meaning. Not co-opted, that's not the right term, but it went away from its original meaning. And like we're I mean, I was Biden was not my first choice, like in or probably in my top 10. So I was settling for him in the sense that like by definition, yeah, as I think all of us were. But there were people who were saying like, no, settled for Biden means that anything you say about Biden has to be like, you can't say anything positive about Biden. Because we never said Biden's the perfect candidate. We never said we love Biden. We said here's environmental policy, here's Biden's plans, here's how it's gonna help. Like we weren't like, we don't stand politicians.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing. Like, basically the entirety of our account was, if I were to summarize all of our posts into one sentence slash paragraph, was basically, here are Biden's plans that are really good and progressive and way better than the plans that Trump has for these situations. Then here is how you can register to vote. We never even said like you have to vote for Biden. Like, we never said like register to vote so that you can vote for Biden. Like we were never trying to control people. We were just saying like, here's how to register to vote, because we were trying to encourage, everyone exercising that right. And, we also made a lot of videos if it was like an important day, like on Indigenous,
Or Blackout Day.
yeah, Indigenous Creators Blackout Day, we put together a video with all of our Indigenous creators. And so things like that, like we would raise awareness when it was like when awareness was needed on certain days. And that was about it. We were never like being like, here's all of the reasons why Biden is the best person ever.
Those blackout days were rough, weren't they? Not to get into the whole concept of whether blackout days are valuable or not.
Mm.
Um, but like I remember the night of after Hispanic Creator Blackout Day, like a few of the creators were like, we don't think that anyone paid attention today. So next time, so we scheduled another blackout day for November 2nd. And I was like, guys, love the idea. The election's on November 3rd.
Yeah.
So you want to rethink that?
Hmm. And this is like it's a big topic, and I think that I might have a more controversial opinion than others, but I would rather not have blackout days and have days where everyone posts information related to the topic, because I think that like blackout days do kind of ruin the meaning of it, because a lot of people, and if someone's listening to this and they're thinking like, oh hey, I don't do that, then like I'm not referring to you. I'm referring to people who use blackout days as a way to cancel people who like posted because they didn't know. That is not the point of blackout days at all.
And just like awareness days are so much better. Like the Jewish Creator Day, it wasn't a blackout day. It's an awareness day. And I posted Brooklyn. I love her very much. She let me post some videos on her account about Judaism. And combined, they probably got like 1 or 2 million views, which is just like,
Yeah, I remember there was one blackout day where Brooklyn found a bunch of people who were like, I don't remember the community that it was addressing, but found a bunch of people who were of that community who were spreading awareness, and she duetted their videos, just covered her camera, like had it a black screen, just to give her platform to those people on that blackout day. And she still got so much hate from people saying you shouldn't be posting at all because you're not part of that community. Where that in and of itself completely takes out the meaning of a
yeah.
blackout day, because all she was doing is amplifying the people who were supposed to post. All she was doing was amplifying them, and she was still getting hate. So people just turned blackout days into a way to hate on people for,
Mhm.
you know, trying to cancel them, blah blah blah. But basically, just to tie that back into TikTok for Biden, that was one of the things we did is on all of the blackout days, we put together videos from people that were of the included communities on those days. We spread a lot of awareness. That was really cool to see, because even just like on National Coming Out Day, which wasn't a
Oh,
blackout day, but like our video on that day did so well. We just had people of all different communities in the LGBTQ community overall. Like, we put together a video of them all saying like happy National Coming Out Day, like you're loved, you're accepted from TikTok for Biden,
that
etc.
got like 3 million likes or something.
That video did really well. So that was something that I thought was really cool, is that we were able to kind of like, spread awareness on every single possible occasion.
Yeah, it's not like we are we are supporting Biden, but like we are. It's not about supporting Biden. It's supporting the progressive ideals, and
And
I
our
think
values in general.
yeah.
So basically, I'm gonna get into the questions now. If again, if people are new, I always put something on my Instagram story right before we start recording, which is, either Sunday or Monday, um,
I
asking
don't even know
people.
what day it is.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe.
not at this point. But asking people to give questions for us to answer in the podcast. So if you see it on my Instagram story after I post, leave a question, whatever. Um, so Tony actually said, "What's the best thing about being on TikTok for Biden?" Um, my favorite thing, well, I have two. My first favorite thing was the fact that like I mean, I had already had met so many people from TikTok, and TikTok for Biden like literally doubled the amount of people I knew. Like I have so many friends now that I just met from like being in Zoom calls and like adding people on Snapchat from the Zoom chat and things like that. My second favorite thing was that I was able to write a bunch of college essays about it and make it seem like it was like an
Just let me
established.
read those soon.
Oh yeah. I made it seem like it was like an established organization where I was like the head of recruitment. Well, I mean, that was technically what I did, but
It's true.
I think it made me seem very, very impressive. So
No,
I'm very,
I hope. What school do you want to go to? USC. I hope the USC isn't listening here.
yeah. If USC is listening, please keep scrolling. Well, I mean, it was very impressive, but I made it seem literally just like 1 or 2% more impressive than it was. But that's my favorite thing.
I mean, I probably have to say the people too. Like I'm trying to figure out how to say this. There are so many people who I am friends with now that like I have previously exhibited fan behavior over them, and there are certain people who I had to delete comments from their comment section because like they followed me, and I was like, I don't want them to see those. But just like getting to know so many awesome people. I mean, I'll give an example because I know you brought him in, Ben. Gabe, Escobar.
Mhm.
He like he he blocked me a year ago before I had any followers because I complimented him on one video, um, and and then we became friends, and I found out that we went to the same elementary school. It was very weird.
Oh, that's interesting. I love Gabe. Someone said, "How did Aiden like Call Me by Your Name?"
I didn't like. I mean, I liked it, but
But like,
it was emotionally very very painful. For people who don't know, I watched it in it was Twink movie night, and we watched Call Me by Your Name, and I'd never seen it, and it was very sad, as you probably know. Except I didn't cry at the end. I didn't feel anything, and I've cried at the end of Boss Baby and Storks, so I think I might have some problems.
yeah, I think that's the funniest thing that you've told me is when you told me that you cried at Boss Baby.
It was a sad movie because he loses all his memories to become a real baby.
Um, okay.
It's what happens.
Yeah. This is a good question. Someone said, "How can the average person do the most good?"
And how can that's a good question, and that's what I search for often.
Hmm.
I think that the most effective way is like do the obvious things like spread awareness about things just involving social justice, and that's vague. But I think that one of the best things you can do for yourself is don't let perfection be the enemy of good. And so I think that like no activist includes like all is conscious and always thinking about every single group and every single issue. And so let yourself not be perfect. Of course, be good and like do good things when you have the chance. Um, but don't force yourself to be perfect. The most effective way to make change right now is through politics, and of course, and like grassroots organizing, not on a political front, but just be involved. Like stay aware on social media, and these opportunities will present themselves. So like one good thing you could do, commenter, is come to the January 4th phone bank for Ossoff and Warnock.
Yeah, well, and also there's going to be more information on that on our TikTok and probably also our Instagram. So follow those, stay tuned because that's a very important event. The election didn't end with, I mean, the election ended with Biden winning, but our work didn't end with that. And there's a very important Georgia runoff that is something that you should be paying attention to, as opposed to just assuming that your work is done because the election ended. So please everyone pay attention to the information about that. Um, Something that I think the average person can do to do the most good is I wrote about this in my college essay, in one of my college essays, and I forget the exact wording, but I liked the way I worded it. And essentially, what I was talking about is that in your everyday interactions with people, don't be afraid to like correct people, because basically the reason that I said this is that it causes a ripple effect. And, you know, if you put forward that positive intention for change, like even if it's just in small conversation, if someone says something that's insensitive and you say like, hey, like next time just don't say that, like it's, either it offended me or you could offend other people in the future. Like it's always just a ripple effect. If you educate someone on a small level, they will gain that small little bit of knowledge and they will spread it to more and more people. Same thing with posting on social media. If you have 400 followers on Instagram, be the most vocal person you can on your Instagram story or with your Instagram posts, because it just spreads it to those 400 people and they will spread it to more people. Don't think that you're just an average person, because there's always that ripple effect that is not really like, present to you, but it does exist. So always have that in mind. Okay, we talked about this a little bit, but someone said, how do you deal with hate from conservatives?
Uh, I mean, there are different types of hate I experience. I think that like someone commenting Trump 2020 on one of my videos, like who cares? Like you're just wrong. Like you have a shitty opinion. Congratulations. And then there's kind of like the next level of hate is like saying something lightly anti-Semitic or homophobic about me. I haven't mentioned I'm gay. That's all I talk about. That's crazy. Wow. I work that in every like 5 minutes.
Well, we
But
did talk about calling me by your name, so that was kind of like
yeah, that's a little hint.
yeah.
Um, but I so like that's another thing. And to be very honest, none of the hate comments from conservatives ever hurt very much. Getting doxxed by Nazis, that hurt.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I made a lot of like political videos that I'm sure like a lot of people listening will probably remember, and that led my account to get on conservative TikTok a little bit, which was an issue at first because it's just hard, because all I was trying to do is spread a positive message, and I was getting stitches and I was getting duets and I was getting comments from people who were like, you're such an idiot, like you're wrong, blah blah blah, when all I was saying is that
And
black
they're right, but your political opinions is not what makes you an idiot.
um thanks.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
so I don't know. All I was saying was I was just like trying to be a positive person, and I was getting backlash from people purely because they just have a different political opinion. Because honestly, my videos weren't actually political. It was more just like me talking about Black Lives Matter as opposed to like the Blue Lives Matter movement. I was like, explaining that, things like that. I wasn't literally talking about like American politics, and yet everyone was like, nope, Trump 2020. But honestly, how I dealt with it was the fact that I don't know. It just doesn't really mean anything in the long term. Like a week after I would post a video that would get a lot of hate, my life would not be any different. So I just have to put it into perspective. I'm like, it's just the
Wish I could say the same here.
right. I know. Um, now Aiden has to keep a bat in his house. Basically, we didn't make that connection. The incident that we mentioned at the beginning of the episode that occurred when we tried to film last week, which by the way is why I didn't have an episode go up, because we had an incident. I don't know if anyone noticed that. But the incident was that Aiden now has to have a bat in his house. So
Yeah, got doxxed by Nazis, as I mentioned a couple of times here.
yeah, we all love Aiden very much. We hope he's okay. We hope he does not have to use that bat. Um,
I feel like I could. I used to be pretty good at baseball.
we hope that you don't have to use it on a person. You could go to the batting cages though if you want.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just how I dealt with it. It probably isn't like super interesting, but I was just like, it doesn't like leave a lasting effect on my emotions at all. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other interesting questions?
I was gonna read one more. Well, someone said, how did you guys become friends? TikTok for Biden. I actually didn't know Aiden before that, although he was a big fan of me. Yeah. Um, I saw one that I wanted to. I think we'll end off the questions part with this question. Do y'all drink glasses of milk?
No, never. I tried. I was making a TikTok the other day about lactate, and I like poured a little glass of milk, and I had to like get rid of it, and I was like, I don't want to pour it out, and I was like, Mom, should I drink it? She was like, Aiden, don't drink it, and I had to sip. I was like,
Yeah, I drink glass
I
milk and chocolate milk though.
chocolate milk. When I was in first grade, I testified in front of the DC Council trying to get chocolate milk back in DC public schools. I'm an anti-white milk activist since day one.
Yep. I love that video. I watched the entire thing. I remember that. So cute. But yeah, I drink glasses of chocolate milk, but not regular milk. Anyway, so at the end of each episode, we play a little game. I prepared a game that I think Aiden will like very much. So I have 5 quotes in front of me, and you're gonna tell me, did Trisha Paytas or did Trisha Paytas not say this quote?
Okay, yeah, I'm excited.
Okay, so it's basically like fact or fiction. Did she say this? I have 5 quotes in front of me. That
I'm gonna go 5 for 5. I'm very confident about this.
Okay. Number 1. I've always been attracted to gay guys. That's when I thought maybe I'm a gay man.
Yes.
Yeah, she said that. Oh my God. It feels problematic to even talk about, but she said that when she came out as trans as a joke, which is arguably not even the worst thing she's done, but you know, it's definitely up there.
Well, Trisha Mazel Tov, she got engaged this week.
Yep.
Congrats to her.
Yeah. Number 2, I don't like being the center of attention, you know, except for when I like being the center of attention.
That doesn't feel insane enough for her. I'm gonna say fiction.
She did say that, and I put it in there because it didn't sound insane enough.
I feel like I would say that. I feel like I have said that.
It just doesn't make sense. um, Number 3, I honestly think that I deserve more followers than Charlie. Like, what do I have that she doesn't?
No, because she's talking about Charlie too kindly. She like, yeah,
Yeah,
that's not her.
she didn't say that, but you know, again, wouldn't
She
put it
thought
past.
it in maybe meaner terms.
Yeah, definitely meaner terms. Number 4, I'm terrible at history. I don't even know or I didn't even know that World War II came before World War One. Came after. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep, she said that, which is very concerning.
Remember when she was on the episode? She where she was like, "Did you know?" This is like 2 weeks ago. She's like, "Did you know about the Holocaust?" And Ethan was like, "What, the Holocaust? Yeah, I did." And she was like, "Yeah, it's so sad, isn't it?" And then she made a video doing the Hail Hitler sign, and
No,
then
no, she did.
she did, and then she was like, and then in her apology video, she was like, "Oh, I did it to promote my podcast because and like the Holocaust has always like affected me because like like I know how rude Hitler was. Hitler was pretty rude, I would say.
Hitler was kind of mean.
Yeah, you're a mean guy.
But yeah, Trisha really just doesn't make sense to me. Like the whole concept of Trisha. um,
If it's all an act, it's very funny. It's also very very problematic, but it's kind of funny.
yeah. Last one. I'm really good at ping pong because I slap people when they annoy me. It's really good practice.
I feel like it'd be weird to come up with that one yourself. That has to be real, right?
I came up with that one myself.
It's a really specific. That's a good one. It
That
reminded
one
me.
took me a while.
The thing is like that Trisha has the in my opinion the third most, like I said, like the third funniest thing that anyone's ever said ever. And some of the things she says are so funny that like if a comedy writer came up with them, like they would be like the head writer on SNL. When she was like, you know why I voted for Joe Biden? Because he quoted Hamilton in his speech, because he was like, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are, and then that's so funny. That's truly so
Yeah,
funny.
that is really funny. And then, oh my God, she starts singing that. And then didn't she say somewhere else that I'm getting things mixed up now because she's just so out there. She said somewhere else that she only voted for Biden for like clout or something. Anyway, so that wraps up the episode. A very interesting one for sure. Thank you so much, Aiden, for being my guest and for organizing TikTok for Biden because it was like the coolest thing I've done with TikTok ever. So I have a list of people to thank. Aiden happens to be on this list as well, so you're gonna get thanked twice. But I have Sara to thank for being my video.
Sarah's my favorite. I like that.
Yeah, for being the video and audio editor. I have Audrey, Daniel, Sydney, and Lou to thank for being the directors. I have Zander, who's my production manager, and then Aidan and Ari, who are the producers of sorts. Aidan's also now the guest. So thank you everyone for getting this off the ground. Thank you for being a part of it, Aidan. Next episode, episodes come out every Wednesday. This will be out this coming Wednesday, but stay tuned for the episode after this one. Thank you everyone for listening. Goodbye.